Okay, so page 105, doing rotations. I want you to complete problems 1 through 3. Best you can. Actually, make sure you're doing it right. Why don't you start with number 1? Okay. So, graph the image of the polygon after rotation the given number of degrees about the origin. Where's the origin? Jeremiah, where's the origin? In the middle? What's the middle? Good, 0, 0. Okay, so I'm rotating about this point. So in order to rotate, you need to know the center of rotation. Okay? We need to know the center of rotation. So if you look back to your definitions page, what page was that again? 104. Okay, center of rotation. That is where you're rotating your figure from. All right, if I'm going 180 degrees, that means what was up here is now going to be 180 degrees away. Now what they've done for you, if you actually looked at the top here, they gave you some information. For a rotation of 180 degrees, if your point is called AB, the actual coordinate of a 180 degree rotation is negative A, negative B. Okay? So if I were to take this point AB, and I was to rotate it 180 degrees, sorry that is blurry, okay, then that point would be over here. And you'll notice if you were to look at that and connect those 2 points, not that we have to do that, but if you were to connect those, it forms a straight line because that's 180 degrees. Okay? So, if I am looking at point L, actually point L here, and I was going 180 degrees for that, well, currently point L is at the coordinate negative 2, negative 2. And so, my new point L is going to be the opposite of both of those. So it's going to be positive 2, which is right there. That is L prime. Okay, point M, which is currently at 1, 1. My new point M is going to be at negative 1, negative 1. That's M prime. J prime, which is currently at negative 2, 4. My new, I'm going to change the signs of each of those, so now it's going to be positive 2, negative 4. And K prime, which is currently at negative 5, positive 1. I'm going to change the signs of both of those. That's going to become 5, negative 1.
This does not look like a square.
And then we connect our points. What happened with one of my points is messed up. Did I mess up M prime? Oh, thank you very much. I put a negative 1, positive 1. Good catch. Is that Maddie? Well done, Maddie. I have to give Maddie a dum-dum for being such a smarty. Good. Okay, there we've got it. And if you want, you can shade it. No, that's not right, right? Straight line. Right would be 90. That's the next one. Yeah. Huh. Notice this is only true if we're going counterclockwise about the origin. Counterclockwise. Well, I guess 180 would be either way. But, okay, if we're going counterclockwise, which is the way we rotate most of these. So anytime it says do a rotation, we're saying counterclockwise. So I want you to do 2 and 3 with your groupies. Okay? Use that guide up above to help you out. Alrighty-o. Check number 2. I'll put it on the board for you. Number 2. There is number 2. Now, please remember the way to check yourself at the end. First, if you use that guide up above, that helps out. The way to check yourself, if you were to connect point R to point R prime, it should show from, not connect those two, from the center of rotation, which is the origin. They should be the same distance away, and they should have an angle that you're rotating in between. So that's a 90-degree angle. Note that if you go from S down to your center of rotation and then to S prime, same distance away. So like in here you could calculate up 2 over or up 3 over 1. The same thing. Except for you're going over 3, down 1 here. Okay? And you have a right angle. Okay, that's a good way to check it out. Or just take a piece of paper and use the corner of it. Okay, if you need help, make sure you stop me as I'm walking around. Try number 3. Okay, here is number 3. Don't look. Check it out. Once again, if you want to check it, draw a line. Connecting the image to the pre-image through the center of rotation. Should be at 90 degrees. Did it right? I get it. In this case, it's 270, right? But if you think 90 or 270 counterclockwise is 90 degrees clockwise. Right? That's why you could see 90 degrees this way. Okay? So when I'm saying 270 counterclockwise, that's 90 degrees clockwise. Okay, so one thing that will help you guys out is to remember kind of this little trail they have up here. If I'm going 90 and then 180 and then 270, another 90 would be 360. Okay, so you're just rotating at 90. So when I go 90 clockwise or counterclockwise, I'm actually going 270 counterclockwise. When I'm going 270 counterclockwise, I'm actually going 90 clockwise. Okay? We normally rotate counterclockwise. And when you study advanced algebra and you get into trig, when we start dealing with the unit circle, you're moving around the unit circle counterclockwise. You'll get sick of hearing the word unit circle next year. Okay? You'll be using it a lot in Algebra 2 and when you get to pre-calculus. Okay, questions on those? All right, give number 4 a shot there. Got a composition. What's composition mean again?
2 or more.
2 or more. 2 or more transformations. Okay, hey, you may not be done yet, but just to make sure that we're on the right page here, reflection across the x-axis. Remember, here's my x-axis. So what was above the x will now be below the x, and what was below the x will now be above the x. So m, since it's above, it's now going to drop down below the same distance away, so that's m prime. And then n is going to go above, that's n prime. Rotation 180 degrees about the origin. What was here at -1, 1 is now going to be at 1, -1. That's n prime prime. And what was at -4, -4 is now going to be at +4, 4. Now for those of you who are like, how's he getting that? I'm using this guideline up here. Okay? So my new figure would be that guy right there. Yes?
So I got like the right answer, but I did it like opposite. I accidentally rotated it across like the y-axis, and then I did like the rotation, and I still got like the same answers.
So you went this way?
Yeah.
And then
And then I rotated.
180?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's see if that works on number 5.
Am I gonna do that or?
Well, no, hopefully you don't go backwards on it. It won't work. All right, give it a go. Number 5. Okay, so yeah, you definitely want to go in the given order here. So rotate about the 90 degrees. So in a rotation about 90, what was A becomes it moves position. So what your X was becomes your Y, and your Y becomes your X, but it's opposite. Okay, so the N, which has an ordered pair of, let's see, 2, 3, 1. We change it, that becomes 1, and then, so we end up with 1, or excuse me, -1 and +3. So -1 and 3. It's tough when they change the scale on us. So that'll be n prime, or they have the scale different. And then we have, what, -2, -1. Okay, so we end up with 1 and -2 on that one. Okay, how many got that as their first part? Okay. Oh, yeah, the bottom would be M. Thank you. Okay, and then we translate it. So we got to move it over each x. So going 2 this way on x, so 1, 2. And then down 3. So that becomes our N prime prime right there. Okay, and then 2 and down 3. It's our M prime prime. So our new figure right there. Questions? All right. Hey, we're out of time in terms of my lesson. With the exception of, as I'm handing out your assignment, I want you to take a look at the next page. There's a couple more on the top you can practice if you want. But number 6 and 7, it gives you, kind of goes through and gives you a figure with your vertices. Just remember when you're reflecting across x equals 2, I want you to show your neighbor real quick where x equals 2 is on there. Okay, x equals 2 is right here. It's this line, if we're going up by ones. Okay, and then the other thing, as I'm handing out your assignments, I want you to complete 10 and 11. Okay, so number 10, does it have rotational symmetry?
Yes.
Yes, we rotate about the center here. How far do we have to rotate? Hey, notice it has rotational because if you, this actually matches up with that, which matches up with that, which matches up with that, which matches up with that. So our rotation is 360 degrees divided by how many congruent parts? 5, which means it would rotate every 72 degrees. So that means it has rotational symmetry at 72 degrees, at 144 degrees, at 108 degrees. Hold on. Oh, sorry. So at 72, at 144, I'm sorry, the next one would be 200. Is it 208? No. Another 72 after 144? 2 what? Okay, and then 288 and yeah, 360, right? All right. Okay, so every 72 degrees. So we should have 5 different measures there. Okay, does number 11 have rotational symmetry? No. It doesn't have any congruent parts, congruent angles. Okay. All right, you have your assignment? Okay, so those of you looking at number 1 and tactfully handling yourselves. Okay. Number 1, if you are trying to rotate point A 60 degrees, you have A, you have to go 60 degrees from your point of rotation to find A prime. Okay? So 60 degrees, I'm going to let you estimate it, unless you actually have your protractor. So I'm not going to, oh, actually, I do have enough protractors. I'll give everyone a protractor to use. Okay? Let me get you a protractor. Okay, so the reality is you only need this for this one problem. Hey, we're going 60 degrees. you find, for those of you who don't know how to use a protractor, put your center right there. Notice some of you have crosshairs right there, but you put your center on that line. You line up your 180 degree line, your straight line, with your line that you just drew to point A, and then you go out 60 degrees. So I'm at 0 degrees, 10 degrees, 20, 30, 40, 50, and 60 is right there. So I am going to put a little mark just right there where 60 is. Okay, and now I can draw a line from point P to that mark. That is a 60 degree angle. And so what that allows me to do then is to measure off A. A is about 1/8. That would be A prime. Okay, and then you have to, for those of you, hey, have a good attitude. Give it a shot. Gee. All right? From that point, if it confuses you, have too many lines, you can erase these other lines. You don't have to have all those. Okay? You could then do the same thing from D. Draw your line. Put your compass. Measure off 60. And then connect. Find the length. It's like 5/8 about. And that would be D prime. Okay? Okay, and then you continue it up there. Hey guys, that's what your end result should look like. Okay, about that. Okay.